Here we are in sunny Burbank, California at Tim Weskey's Swordplay Studios.
So I'm here with my fighting friends Wendy Lee and Jennifer Karras, and they're going to help me demonstrate some of the footwork techniques that we use to put together the Warrior Showdown fights.
Footwork is really the foundation of everything that we do. I know that when people watch these fights, they fixate on what action is occurring with the hand, but really that's secondary. We're not really trying to stab and kill the other person, so the commitment with the weapon is always going to be less than it would be authentically in real life. However, all of the action that you do with your feet can be full-on commitment all the way. The first step is an advanced step. It's used in fencing, it's used in most types of sword fighting. It allows you to inch forward towards your opponent without putting yourself in a whole lot of threat. And then the counter to that step would be a retreat. Both feet always move perfectly balanced. When you're moving backwards, back foot, front foot. If you need to cover more ground quicker, we take a cross forward step. You start with the foot that's behind you and you transition all the way through back to your on guard on the other side. Of course, when you take it in the opposite direction, you're taking a counter that's a cross back. That allows you to cover twice as much distance as an advance or retreat. The drawback is you can't change your direction as quickly because you have momentum pushing you forward, so this is a commitment step. This step is a pass forward. The main distinction between this and a cross is that you're switching your guard. Whereas a cross is only a transitional step, you only have your non-dominant foot forward for the moment that you're passing through. The pass literally changes to your non-dominant side. The primary attack step is a lunge. You push off that back foot and drive the energy forward into the heel of your front leg. A perfect posture would have your back foot flat on the floor, your back leg completely straight, and the energy travels all the way through your hips into the heel of the front foot, and it ends where there's a straight line between your knee and your heel. Your torso is going to be upright, your backhand is in supination. Not only does it promote good posture and balance, but it also allows you to keep your head upright, and even though we're doing all this super cool stuff with weapons, your face is still your primary storytelling tool. This is a defensive technique that we call a vault. You may know it as a slip. It can also be used as a displacement by moving your leg out of the danger and replacing it with a weapon. It is a lateral movement, so you're not creating any distance forward or backwards because your pivot leg is staying in place. So what this is really starting to do is allow us to curve around on the horizontal axis. This step we call an evade. You may know it as a thwart or an avoidance. It's the exact same body mechanics as a lunge, except it's used for defensive purposes. Ducks and leaps are other ways to be able to avoid the blade. When you're taking a duck step, you want to keep your front foot firmly planted on the ground. It's alright if your back heel comes up. When you leap into the air, a switch jump is a good way to be able to change your guard from one side to the other without adding any extra time to the fight. We use these footwork steps in every single fight that we do, and it allows us to keep things looking natural and spontaneous and realistic and fully committed as we move through the action. It does make your legs sore though.
So here with me are my friends Lou, Adam, Dustin, and Gowrie, and we're going to demonstrate for you the parries that we use when we put these fights together. We divide them into two basic categories, heavy weapons and light weapons. So we're going to show you a little bit of both.
To make the construction of fights a lot faster, we use a series of numbers for our parries. Now keep in mind, everybody has their own system of numbers, so some of the numbers that you see us using may not match up with numbers that you may be familiar with. Most people in sword fighting communities use a system of parry numbers that derive from cavalry fighting or saber parry numbers. We use a system of parries and numbers that more closely align with the Spanish circle or foil fencing. However, many of the numbers that we have are purely for in-house purposes to expedite communication amongst ourselves. The first parry position is 1. It blocks the low-line non-sword side. Parry 2 defends against your low-line sword side. Parry 3 is a basic on-guard position. It blocks your sword side high line. Parry 4, it covers your high line non-sword side. Parry 9 covers your head. You might notice we skipped a few because they're not really practical or applicable to this weapon. Parry 7 is the only supinated parry common to a heavy weapon. Parry 10 covers the same target area as 9 except your hand is on the other side. Parry 12 covers your low line hindquarters. Parry 11 covers your back on the high line. It also shows off your biceps. A parry is simply another word for block. parries that you're going to find with light weapons are far more extensive and versatile. There are so many different options in hand positions that we require a pretty extensive number series to be able to keep them all straight. With heavy weapons, people are trying to lop off limbs, so you really have to create a strong wall of defense between you and your opponent. But since commonly with light weapons, your main objective is not necessarily to stop this huge heavy blow, your main consideration is having a quick avenue to counterattack. So you don't always need to stop something very powerful, you just need to redirect it. That opens the door to a much wider range of options. Because the weight of the weapon isn't a significant factor when you're receiving an attack, it allows you to be able to use a series of supinated parries where the primary purpose is not just to defend yourself, but also to be able to have a quick riposte back at your opponent. A supinated position is where your palm is up, pronated is when your palm is down. A riposte is an attack immediately following a successful defense. The first position is 1. This is the exact same as it was with the heavy weapons. 2, 3, 4. Now we have 5. 5 is angled towards your opponent. It covers the same target area as 3. We call this parry true 4. It's angled towards your opponent for faster riposte. Parry 6 covers the exact same target area as 5, however it's in a supinated position. Parry 7 covers the same target area as 1. Parry 8 covers the exact same target area as 2, except your hand is in a supinated position. Parry 9 protects your head. Parry 10 covers your head with your hand on the opposite side of your body. These are the hanging varieties of the head parries. Instead of trying to stop the weapon, you're allowing the attack to continue through and simply redirecting it. Parry 12 covers your low line, parry 11 the high line of your back, and it can be performed from either side of the body. This vast arsenal of parries allows us a lot of flexibility and versatility when we're constructing fights.
Now we're going to take those tools and use them to construct a fight. To help me out, I have my buddy Azim and my beautiful wife Natalie. Both Warrior Showdown veterans, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Because in all the Warrior Showdown fights, we have to shoot these really quick. So the fastest way to eliminate time on set is to not have to shoot the fights in the round. So we stage them with the choreography in such a way where we always remain on one side of the 180-degree line. Instead of moving our entire camera setup, which would double the length of the day, we coordinate talent to switch within the frame so that we're a lot more mobile and everything gets done a lot faster.
We take the fight step by step, we work on each move, we refine it, and we balance it. The key aspect to making a fight look spontaneous and natural, like it's unfolding in the moment, is that both characters' moves are timed together.
Boom in the face! And this is what we do with most of the Warrior Showdown fights. We want to create a contrast between the different styles of fighting. She has speed and technique at her side. He has brawn, brutality, and just downright meanness.
Every time somebody takes a step or a movement or has an action, the other person has a counter step, counter movement, or reaction.
Set that foot into this space right here, then from our camera angle it should play. And kick. Cool. We want to incorporate some special effects elements.
One of the other things we need to consider when we're putting fights together is what we're going to actually perform practically and what's going to be applied as an effect afterwards in post. Usually most Warrior Showdown fights tend to be a blend of both. Everything that can be done physically, we do physically. And if it's something that there is no physical way to perform or isn't a safe way to do it, like shooting projectiles or supernatural abilities,
you possess magic! So you're going to channel all that Shaolin Chi and produce an energy ball or an energy flame or something to be determined at a later date in post-production.
then we perform what portion of that needs to be done in our bodies, and we combine it with visual effects after the fact. Like most things, it's a process of trial and error, and just like any dance, you have to learn to fight one move at a time.
That's what practice is for. Practice makes perfect.
Once you combine all of those moves into a series, you start to have what we call phrases. A phrase is a continuous series of action without any breaks. With Warrior Showdown, the fighters have a huge impact on what moves they do. I come in with a blueprint, we test it out on their bodies. Since everybody's different and every body moves differently, even though we're using the same foundation, it's extremely helpful to have the input of the person who actually has to physically perform it. Because something that works in my head may not always work in somebody's body. So having that input and interactivity leads to a much higher quality end result, I believe.
And what really separates Warrior Showdown from the average coordinated fight is we have to shoot two endings because we never know who the voters are going to choose to win. For this one, we're not going to shoot any endings. We're going to leave it mysterious. So as soon as these guys get within proximity, I'll just have you run towards each other. Once you hit the center, peel off. So we'll make it so that we don't hit each other. Now that we peel off on this side, and we peel off on this side, I can freeze it, but you're literally going to nose. Let's walk it from the very beginning, nice and slow. Now what we do at this point, both these guys know the fight, so I'm going to move to the other side of the camera. They're going to perform it a few times out of costume, and this is the basic process of the rehearsal.
Ready and action. Perfect, let's keep going. And cut.
Next, you're going to see the final result. The fight's been rehearsed. We have costumes, makeup, Foley sound effects, and visual effects. So sit back and enjoy.
A reckless headbutt and a vicious kick to the fruit. And this fight is in the way every fight should. With me winning!
Who let him in here? Cunt! Somebody hit the lights! Come on, man, I already told you, not winning any of these fights. We're trying to get something done here.
Why not Showdown 2? Bringing history to life, using the building blocks of creativity to violate it over and over and over again!